A guten Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Friday Parshas News, so Yid Gimel Sivan Tovshin Pai Vuv, and it's May 29th, 2026. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host, bringing you the news of the last 24 hours. Stay tuned. Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. And presented to you by Kosher Skinny Shot, 845-456-8924. Enter the free giveaway by calling me on 845-671-1775. Press 5 and leave your name and telephone number and say Kosher Skinny Shot on Edge. You might win a free month. Storage Pro, Protobyte, Wires Capital Group, and Arrive Express, and of course, Click 613. Now, stuck in Honolulu somewhere? You just got off a long plane ride somewhere? And the guy next to you tried waking you up for mincha, and you said later, but now it's later. You arrived and the sun is setting, so no shul, no minyan, no idea where to go. Or you're even hungry, and you want to find that new 5-star Michelin kosher restaurant in Miami. Click 613 to the rescue. Visit click613.com or just SMS on 183340-CLICK. That's 25425. Or WhatsApp them on 848-480-8677. Minyonim, kosher food, shiurim, anything, anywhere in the world. Click 613. 613 reasons why you should click. The missing 14-year-old girl, Esty, from Toronto, has Baruch Hashem been found safe. And unfortunately, another deadly explosion happened in Dallas, Texas, leaving several people dead and missing. The US may be close to another deal with Iran. But officials warn that it is still too early to tell. Well, of course. And a fully kosher restaurant in North Miami has been made history by earning a Michelin star award. That's a first. Have you ever spent 20 minutes looking for something that should have only taken you 20 seconds to find? When your garage or shed looks like a shed invaded it, is full of clutter, or aliens like Trump recently posted on Truth Social, even simple things can be hard to find. Storage Pro helps you organize your space, so everything has a place and is easy to reach. They come down, give you free estimates. In Muncie, Monroe, upstate region, storage like a pro. They come down, they look at your place, they clean it up, they paint it, they put nice paneling. Look at the before and after pictures here. You can tell for yourself this guy has a mining Bitcoin station. It didn't look like one before, now it looks like one. They put nice panels, whole shelving system there, even a desk, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards, everything. You want your garage to look like this? Nice lighting. Look at this, Kazakhstan, look at this now. Unbelievable. Storage Pro. 929-560-9936 or visit Storage Pro NY or email him on info@storageprony.com. Again, the number is 929-560-9936 and don't forget to mention on Edge for a good deal. All right. Great news. The 14-year-old Jewish girl, Esty from Toronto, has been found, Baruch Hashem. She was missing for almost 2 weeks now. As the search dragged on with Chaverim from Rockland and Shomrim from Toronto, police said that they were deeply concerned for Esther's safety and health, especially since she was on the autism spectrum. But Baruch Hashem, Toronto police found her yesterday afternoon around 1 p.m. at a home in Etobicoke. The police did not say who it was or who was at the house when Esther was found, only that no one has been arrested yet, and they are now trying to find out who lives in the house and how many people have been there. They did confirm that Esther is healthy and safe, but she was still taken to hospital to be assessed. Esther's parents said that they feel like they can breathe again. For the first time in 10 days, they said, quote, "There are not enough words to thank the overwhelming support from the Jewish community and every resident of Toronto and the GTA who searched for Esty as if she was their own daughter." And they refused, basically. They asked to not spread information or where she is and why she was found in the house and all that, so I cannot tell you more than I already did. Alright, unfortunately bad news continues in other places in the world. Another deadly blast happened in the US, and this completely destroyed an apartment building in Dallas, Texas. At least 3 people are now dead and 11 others are missing in the Oak Cliff area. Firemen were already there answering a call about a gas leak when the building blew up. Police are now searching through the broken pieces of the building, and officials expect the number of dead or hurt people to go up, unfortunately. Let's talk about Trump. This morning, President Trump went on Truth Social and laid out exactly what Iran has agreed on before he signs any deal. Now, he posted just before 11 o'clock that he was going into the Situation Room to make his final decision. And here is what Trump said. First, Iran must agree that they will never have a nuclear weapon or bomb. Second, the Strait of Hormuz must be opened immediately. No tolls, with ships moving freely in both directions. Third, all water mines that Iran laid in the Strait of Hormuz must be removed. Trump said the U.S. has already cleared a lot of them with American mines sweepers and Iran has to finish the job. Fourth, the American naval blockade of the strait will be lifted. The ships that have been stuck in the water can finally head home. Fifth, the leftover nuclear material from Iran's program, which Trump called nuclear dust, is buried deep under the mountains that the U.S. collapsed with B-2 bombers 11 months ago. The United States, working together with Iran and the international nuclear watchdog, will dig it up and destroy it. And Trump made one thing very clear, quote, "No money will be exchanged until further notice." He ended this post with, quote, "Thank you for your attention to this matter." Now we know this is serious when he ends a post like this. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said that they are very close to reaching a deal with Iran, obviously. But, and again, there is always a but. And he also said it's too early to tell. Yesterday, Vance explained that the talks were going back and forth on a couple of language points, which include the question of nuclear enrichment. He said, quote, "We're not there yet, but we're very close, and we're going to keep on working at it." President Trump has been told about the plan, but will take him a few days to check it. We'll see today. If signed, the deal keeps the peace for 60 more days. It will also end the U.S. naval blockade, but Trump made it very clear that no money will be flowing into Iran's pockets for now. As you may already know, the Strait is the quickest and therefore most important oil delivery route for ships. That's why they're very, very important, and this is why they're doing this. But the US won't open it up for free. In return, Iran needs to remove explosive mines from the water in the Strait of Hormuz, and they only get 30 days to do so. Now, the question remains, who would be in control of the Strait? Well, Iran and Oman said that they would do it. But the US did not agree. We reported yesterday that Trump said no one should be in charge, especially not Iran and Oman. But even as they talk, well, yesterday I actually said that he said in his words, Trump said in his words, he will have to bomb Oman. Yes, he said it. And they even the State Department put a post out with these words. But even as they talk about peace, both sides say the other one is breaking the current ceasefire. Iran says it fired at a U.S. base, and they claim, well, reported it yesterday, they claimed they did it because the American military bombed southern Iran. News in Iran also claimed that they shot down a U.S. plane, but the U.S. military says all of the planes are completely safe and nobody shot any planes down. Now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent also led the White House briefing yesterday, now that Caroline Leavitt is a kindbeturen, When asked about the decision for the peace talks, he said the answer is up to President Trump. But he did say that the Iranian airlines will not be allowed in U.S. landing spots, refueling areas, and even ticket booths. There is also a new detail in a deal that nobody was talking about until last night. The New York Times reported that the deal on the table includes a $300 billion investment fund to help rebuild Iran after the war. Iranian officials are calling it a reconstruction program. Iran had originally demanded somewhere between $300 billion and $1 trillion to pay for the damage from the American bombings. But Trump told his team he will not sign any deal that looks like America giving cash directly to Iran. That is because Trump has spent years criticizing former President Obama for, in his words, giving cash to Iran. So instead, the plan is being called an international investment fund. The idea was first floated by Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, and of course his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Both men come from the real estate world. Now, under the proposal, American oil and energy companies would also be allowed into Iran for the first time in many, many years and could partner on big projects there. Well, we'll see what happens. A senior commander from the Iranian terror group, Hashad al-Shaabi, was killed in Iraq's southern Maysan province. He is Uday Mushin al-Hafi, also known as Sheikh Dafir al-Hafi. He was killed when an improvised explosive device, an IED, detonated inside his vehicle. No group has claimed responsibility for the bombing. But late last month, the US announced a reward for up to $10 million for information on the location or activities of this terror group's leader. Well, you make the math. Pakistani Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar has arrived in Washington for meetings with Marco Rubio. Pakistan shares a large border with Iran, and the result of the negotiations will have a direct impact on the country. The meetings in Washington will focus heavily on the ceasefire talks and keeping the region stable. American officials are working to keep regional leaders informed as they try to finish the agreement with Iran. Now, if you've been keeping up with us on Edge, you know this whole thing is starting to feel like a Pullumspiel. We've seen before, twice actually. Remember Operation Midnight Hammer? Right before that, the deal was going great. Great talks. Great direction, great progress. Then, boom, a bomb explode. Then February 28th, Shabbos Zucher once again. The talks were going really well. Everyone said, back and forth, in and out, the deal was close, and then he died like a dog. Bombs broke out. So now, here we are in, the deal is on or the deal is off, deal on, deal off, the blockade is up, the blockade is down, Iran has no cards, Iran doesn't have the cards, they have the cards, Iran is negotiating on fumes, and Iran has 10-point, 14-point plan, a 14-point, 21-point plan. The deal is largely negotiated, the deal is going very well, not even fully negotiated, it's trash, and now today Trump goes into the Situation Room to make a final determination. I guess final determination until Motzei Shabbos Kodesh, when we hear he dropped a Truth Social post or something. Anyway, look, maybe this time he actually shook hands. Maybe. You never know. But if you're keeping score at home, we've heard the deal is almost done. About 4 times already. So, I get Shabbos. Should I? Oh, by the way, the Houthis woke up. They claimed that they shot down another US MQ-9 Reaper over Yemen. That's a type of drone, I guess, spy drone. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that the Israeli military had already grown its control in Gaza from 50%. They have now reached 60%. And now the new military target is to take 70% control of the Gaza Strip. Israeli troops have also crossed the Litani River. They are moving deeper inside Lebanon. IDF spokesperson Effie Dufrin said soldiers are reaching places they didn't touch during the Second Lebanon War. Since the ceasefire began on April 17th, the Israeli military says, after the ceasefire, right? It has killed around 800 Hezbollah terrorists. That brings the total amount to 2,500 killed since the war began on Shabbos Zucher. Now, the Israeli military also bombed Hamas militants hard in Gaza. This week, they killed Ihab Krizim, who ran a central Hamas money transfer network, and he was struck and bombed in the southern city of Khan Yunis. On Wednesday, the IDF also killed Hamas Gaza Brigade commander Iz al-Din Beik. Again, Iz al-Din Beik, along with his Gaza City deputy commander Imad Aslim. Now, I want to address a sharp-eyed listener, Shlomi Feldman, who caught a detail in our story about the new Israeli tanker, which is interesting. I mentioned that this plane could refuel F-18 Hornets, but as many of you pointed out already, Israel doesn't actually fly the F-18. So, why use that number? So those stats come directly from the Boeing's technical data website, since they sell this plane worldwide. They use the F-18 as a global measuring stick to show off fuel capacity. And for those wondering, obviously, why Israel doesn't own the F-18, it comes down to 2 things: engines and weight. Israel's F-15s and F-16s use the same engine family, making maintenance much cheaper. Plus, the F-18 was built for aircraft carriers. It has heavy reinforced landing gear that Israel simply doesn't need for land-based runways. I also want to be very clear about what I meant by filling up a jet. Obviously, you can't fill a jet from zero in the sky. It would fall out of the sky, So those numbers are based on top-offs, Top-offs. A real mission, jets meet the tanker with some fuel left, and then the Gidon pumps in enough to give them the range they need to reach a distant target and get back home, or refuel again. The first Gidon officially arrived at the Nevatim air base this past Wednesday, and regardless of the marketing math, it is a massive strategic shift for the region. Israel is cutting off all ties with the Office of United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Now, the Foreign Affairs Ministry gave the order after the UN put several Israeli groups on a blacklist, and the UN accused them of crimes in war zones. Israeli Ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, confirmed the freeze. He said Israel will not speak with the office again until a new Secretary General is picked. The Israeli military is getting ready to arrest more yeshiva bochurim who didn't join the army. As a result, many are very angry about the Gzeres Hagias in Bnei Brak. Haredi protesters even threw stones and rocks at police yesterday. The protests followed instructions from Rabbi Tzvi Friedman, who called for protests after a wave of arrests. Top rabbinic leaders are also pushing back, and Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef spoke at the Kesser Shel Torah event, and he told Yeshiva Bochurim and Koilin Galat not to be afraid of the police or the government. Netanyahu tried to calm things down yesterday. He praised the military's Haredi Hasmonean Brigade for combining Torah study with army services, and they sang Now, but incoming, I'm not kidding you, by the way, this is actually reported news, but incoming Shas lawmaker Erez Malul gave a warning. He said Haredi parties will refuse to join any future government unless a law protects the yeshiva students. Baruch Hashem, a Yid from Lakewood, was saved from a serious attack yesterday while driving in Eretz Yisrael. He was driving on Highway 77 near Tveria, with about 10 miles past the junction with Highway 6, when an Arab standing on a hill above the road threw a very heavy metal object down at his car. The object went straight through the windshield. With huge Siyata D'Shmaya, it only gave him a light hit to his hand on the steering wheel, but was not seriously hurt, and he didn't lose control of the car, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem, but you see what I mean? You see what I mean? A historic meeting took place Thursday afternoon in Monsey. The family of the Beidach Moshe of Satmar finally met to divide the inheritance, the Yerusha, after 20 years. This is beautiful things. Mashiach can come already. The inheritance was split into 4 equal parts using a lottery. It was divided among the 4 sons, the Satmar Rebbe of Kiddush Yoel, Satmar Rebbe of Wilhelmsburg, the Av Bezdin of Zenta, and the Av Bezdin of Satmar 15. Representatives from all the children came to the meeting. And the meeting was held at the home of Reb Lipa Friedman. He is the son of Reb Moshe Gabba. Moshe Friedman, who was the personal Gabba to the Beidach Moshe. During the lottery, highly valuable historical items were drawn. The holy Rabbani Tam film of the Kedushas Yom Tov went to the Rebbe of Satmar from Kiddush Yoel, and a rare letter written by the Divrei Chaim of Tzanz, Zechis Yigenleini, went to the Rebbe of Satmar from Wilhelmsburg, and the menorah of the Kedushas Yom Tov, the actual menorah, went to the Siget Rebbe, the Av Bezdin of Zenta, and the Megillas Esther went to the Av Bezdin of Satmar 15, the youngest son of the Kedushas Yom Tov. I'm not sure exactly what after 15 means, but police have now identified the terrorist who stabbed 4 people, or 3 people, at a Switzerland train station yesterday. His name is Nesip Dedeler. Well, who cares? A 31-year-old Schnips with both Swiss and Turkish citizenships. Police first noticed him back in 2015. At that time, he was only handing out flyers for the ISIS terror group. Now, Dedeler has 2 brothers who are also being watched by the police for extreme beliefs. Officials say all 3 brothers belonged to the same terror group, ISIL or ISIS. Belgian police released suspect photos from the Lej Shul fire in March. Ashab al-Yamin claimed the attack, the same group that also committed terrorist attacks in London recently. He is tied to the IRGC and pro-Iranian groups in Iraq. Mayor Zohran Mamdani, speaking of, will not attend the Israel Day Parade, making it the first New York City mayor to skip this historic event since 1964. He said, "I said on the campaign trail that I wouldn't be attending the parade, and I've made my views on the Israeli government abundantly clear. And I don't believe that my presence as the mayor should determine whether or not a New Yorker is safe or secure." Some good news on Wall Street. The stock market hit a new record yesterday, and the S&P 500 closed at 7,563. The Nasdaq jumped almost 1%, also closing near a record. Even with the rising inflation and the ongoing war with Iran, investors are still hoping and buying. Snowflake, a tech company, shot up 36% after a strong earnings report, and a $6 billion deal with Amazon Microsoft also climbed. And today, the market is up again on the news and that the deal with Iran might be very, very close to determination. On Motzei Shabbos, I guess. U.S. federal judge Carl Nichols will let Trump's new voting rules take effect. Listen to this. The new rule forces people to prove they are citizens before they vote. The rule also limits voting by mail. Nichols, ruled that a legal challenge from Democrats was brought too early. Now that the bloc is denied, the government is moving forward with this new election rule. The government is designing a new $250 bill. It will have President Donald J. Trump's face on it to mark America's 250th birthday. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent proudly confirmed that they are working on the design, and he added that the president's signature will also be printed on the cash, and this will be the first time a sitting president will sign U.S. money. But the idea faces some legal problems. Federal law says living people cannot be put on American money. The law also does not allow a $250 bill to exist right now. So, Republican Representatives Joe Wilson wrote a new law to bypass those rules, but the printing agency warns that making a brand new bill takes years of testing. The Trump administration said that Americans exposed to the virus in Africa, the hantavirus, will not come straight home, obviously. Instead, the U.S. built a 50-bed medical camp in Kenya at the Laikipia Air Base for them, which is an American neighbor. So the camp opens on Friday. It has special rooms to keep the virus from spreading. More than 30 U.S. health workers are flying to Kenya to run the camp. Anyone who tests positive will be flown to a hospital in Europe for faster care. Officials are still trying to find out which European hospitals will take these patients in. You know, I hear people saying all the time, oh, I ate too much. I need to go on a diet. We all know how important health is, especially when we want to fight these viruses, right? Now, when you feel healthy and strong, you can also have more energy for your daily life. One of the best ways to support your health is by joining Kosher Skinny Shot. Now, it's not just for obesity. No, it's not just. They don't just stech you and walk away. They guide you every single step of the way. Call them today on 845-456-8924. Again, 845-456-8924 for a free consultation. Sign up today, and also you can enter to win a free giveaway of 1 month at Kosher Skinny Shot by calling 845-671-1775. Press 5. Leave your name and telephone number and say Kosher Skinny Shot on edge. Please make sure there shouldn't be any noise in the background, because if there's noise and I can't hear you clear, I don't think you'll be able to enter it. I want you to be able to enter and win a free month with Kosher Skinny Shot. The United States Secretary of War has just landed in Singapore today for a major Asian defense summit. He's scheduled to give an important speech on the forum tomorrow. Before the speech, Hegseth is meeting with regional leaders, and they will discuss expanding U.S. military forces in the area and increasing training support for Singapore's military. Why do they need a military? Anyone knows why Singapore needs a military? One of the only countries in the world I heard they have no wars. A Russian suicide drone crashed into an apartment building in Romania last night, and the attack happened middle of the night while Russia was bombing Ukraine in a port near the border. Romania's defense ministry said its radar tracked the drone as it crossed into their airspace, and they sent 2 F-16 fighter jets to watch it before it crashed into the building in the city of Galați. Investigators found pieces of the drone, and the pieces proved it was a Russian Geran 2 or a Shehad 136 drone made from Iran. We still do not know exactly how many people were hurt or injured or killed. Even though the drone hit an apartment building, officials think it was likely an accident. This means that Romania's NATO military alliance will probably not strike back. A Russian ship carrying 242,000 barrels of fuel to Cuba changed its path. It sailed towards South America instead. This leaves Cuba with empty fuel tanks and makes the country power outage much worse. Almost 11 million people in Cuba have faced severe shortages since January. That was when the United States captured the president of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, who was Cuba's main oil supplier. Now, people in Cuba only have electricity for a few hours a day. Buying illegal gas, costs more than $40 a gallon, as you can imagine. This is all happening while President Trump puts heavy pressure on the Cuban government to quit. An advisor says the goal is to break the government by squeezing them hard, and they want to arrest them. The United States is officially labeling Brazil's 2 biggest drug gangs as global terrorists. The group are Comando Vermelho and also Primeiro Comando da Capital. And the Trump administration says this new terror label will start on June 5th. The choice was made after a meeting in Washington, D.C. between Marco Rubio and Brazilian Senator Flavio Bolsonaro. The label is part of a bigger plan. The U.S. government wants to use the fight against drug gangs to put more American military power into Latin America. The U.S. military will not chase after drug cartels in Guatemala. The move was described as an expansion of Trump's push against drug traffickers. But Guatemala's president, Bernardo Arevalo, completely denied the report. He said his country has not agreed to any deal following or allowing American military strikes on their soil. A massive rocket exploded yesterday night on the launch pad in Florida. This happened at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Engineers were running a test where they turned the engines on while the New Glenn rocket stays locked on the ground. News helicopters filmed huge fires and heavy damage at the site. The rocket belongs to Blue Origin, which is owned by Jeff Bezos. Bezos confirmed that all his workers are safe. He says the company is looking for what went wrong and will rebuild the rocket yet again. A kosher restaurant in North Miami has become the first fully kosher restaurant in the world to earn a Michelin star. Congratulations. The restaurant named Mutra, Mutra, was just received the prestigious award. A Michelin star is considered one of the highest honors in the food industry. The stars are given to restaurants that show exceptional cooking, outstanding technique, and consistent quality. Until now, no other kosher restaurant in the world, anywhere in the world, has ever received such a Michelin star. Correct me if I'm wrong. 8 students from Houston had a very long ride yesterday afternoon at an amusement park in in Galveston, in Texas. They were on a roller coaster called the Iron Shark at the Galveston Pleasure Pier. Now, the ride malfunctioned during its climb and stopped right at the top, leaving the 8 riders stuck 100 feet up in the air, pointing straight up at the sky. The students were stuck for almost 4 hours. Firefighters used a tower truck with a long ladder and brought them down one by one with safety harnesses. The fire chief said that all 8 were checked for dehydration after sitting in the sun for so long, but nobody was injured. They made it. Anyway, Baruch Hashem for this and the wonderful news obviously today. But before we do this, Protobite. 845. No, what's the number again for Protobite? Why don't you should know? 347-354-1237. I keep on saying it every single day. You want to design software? You know where to go. Protobite. And YS Capital Group, obviously. Oh, I forgot that part. Wait, before we go to YS Capital Group, you have to see this again. His name is Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. He is Bobby Kennedy. He is handling a snake. For the first time in our lives, I've seen him do this, actually. He's like capturing 2 little snakes in his hand, showing off that he could do this and he can handle it. YS Capital Group. I'll tell you why. Because YS Capital Group cuts the middleman away. Their direct lending, fast approvals, and also ask them about their no closing cost loans on 718-831-2168. Especially for your investments. If you want to invest in the building, call them today on 718-831-2168. Get yourself a loan fast and direct. And the Arrive Express, 845-254-1111, 845-622-1111. First number was Monroe, the second number was the main number in Monsey. Okay, my friends, have yourselves a wonderful Shabbos Kodesh.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.